when I was a kid, and I found it kind of dull then because it was a lot of stuff I already knew. Like, I was already pretty familiar with Latin when I was trying to learn it, and that everything just seemed to have Latin roots was just like, I don't feel like I'm learning anything new here. And of course, like, now that I've given it more than 10 words of learning to try and do, I can see the complexity and beauty of French. It's not just a fancier version of English. There's some merit in learning it. And most of the people who I see say that, oh, French is pretty much the closest language to English, didn't really learn that much French. Like, most people I know who I talk to that say that, I already know more French than. The difference between French and English, the reason why French is to me a hard language is because at times it has so much similarity to English. And then when it doesn't have similarities to English, it's just completely different. It's like Uncanny Valley and trying to understand the language for its own thing. But then trying to function as though the other thing that it's like doesn't exist, and it's just not easy. The number of times that somebody speaks to me in French and I respond in something half English and half French is crazy. Knowing what the correct thing in French is to say, but just because it seems so similar to the English, not like having the flag that tells me that I'm speaking English the way other languages that I've learned does. Like, I've learned a fair amount of Japanese and some Russian as well. And I would never mix Russian or Japanese with English the way that I do with French. Because even outside of words that they share the same root of, and words that they've clearly shared through cultural habits, like several years ago, and that became the standard word. French also borrows a lot of colloquialisms from English. So, like, I can say okay, and most people will take that to mean d'accord. So I don't know how to say d'accord. Like, I know the d'accord, but I don't say d'accord ever. Because people understand okay. Because, like, the French people that I spend most of my time around say d'accord. Well, say okay. And it's just like, okay, well, when I hear somebody saying d'accord who's not a native French speaker, I'm just like gazing in amazement because I can't make myself do it. How are they able to do it? And I guess it's because they're around people who say d'accord instead of okay all the time. There's also the problem that, like, one's brain is really good at remembering new words. At least my brain is really good at remembering new words, and I believe it's at least a feature of most human understanding and recognition. Whether we remember the definitions of the words is another thing, but we'll at least remember new words fairly easily. I need to move the ear again. What a horrific realization. If you're wondering how I know when I need to move the ear, if you're not yourself very experienced with art, I don't know either. I don't know either. It's just like, and I don't know where I'm moving it to. It's just like, yeah, okay, that looks better, and I'll stop. And maybe it's better, and maybe it's not. I don't know. That's the scariest part about art. You do things, and you're just relying on some part of your brain to understand what's going on, and hoping that's the case. The only similar experience I can think of is when I was learning how to do Dance Dance Revolution. And, like, if you've seen the movie Sing with the pigs and everything, and the pig housewife is trying to learn to dance, and she's saying, "Oh, I can't keep track of the numbers, I can't keep track of the steps," and like the dude pig is all like, "Ah, well that's it, you just feel the music and you let it take you away," and stuff like that. And that's exactly it. Like, my brain was expecting to like do all of these calculations and use like precision and stuff to do things. And then with DDR I found that no, actually I do it if I just let myself go and do the thing. And that's what art's like. You just let yourself go and you do the thing, and then maybe it'll turn out okay. Oh, what a cute smile. With art, it is just intensely about looking at the thing. Does it look like the thing? Yes? Okay. Okay, now look at it from this angle. Does it still look like the thing? No? Okay, do stuff and then see if it starts to look like the thing. And then you just keep doing that over and over and over and over again until it looks like the thing. And really, I think the hardest part that I've had as an artist is insisting on more times where I look at the thing and fewer times where I'm trying to draw the thing. If that makes sense. I try to look at the thing more. And sorry, they're going to look a little bit girly for now. It's just the nature of lips. We code lips as being a feminine thing, but obviously everybody has lips. So, at the very least, when they start, because you're focusing on them so much, they tend to look quite feminine. And then if I just balance out the colors a little bit later on, balance out the shadows, then they start to look a little bit more normal and a little less prominent. Cute teeth! Sorry, it's definitely a parent thing, I think, to think that kids' teeth are cute, but it's certainly, like, there has not been a point with my daughter's, like, growth of teeth that I haven't found the point cute. Like, when she had no teeth, when she had 2 teeth in the front, now that she's got like half of her teeth, I don't find it weird at all. She's just super duper cute that way. But you know, if I saw an adult walking around with like 2 teeth, I'd be like, what has happened to you? Or no teeth, I would just be like, you poor person, what has happened to you? And but for adults, it's not so bad, really. For children, it's not so bad, because I think we're just, like, there's some sort of biological thing that we have to find basically everything that is a child version adorable. Including child toothlessness and child only having a few teeth. And it's even cute when they start to grow, like, the big teeth. Like, it hasn't happened for my daughter yet, but, like, I see, like, my nieces who are losing their teeth and growing in adult teeth. And they're super proud and they're super happy. And it's, like, I feel like I should be disgusted, but it's actually really cute that they're, like, losing teeth and then growing big adult teeth in around their small baby teeth. It's just like, okay, yeah, this is precious, why not? I guess it's like, when you think about it, cartoon caricatures of rabbits where their feet are humongous and their teeth are humongous, and it doesn't look like disgusting, it just looks adorable. But you kind of feel like if you saw a real person with gigantic teeth or gigantic feet, you'd feel at least a little bit disconcerted on a, like at least to the extent that a cartoon does. I think we naturally have a degree of acceptance of bizarre features because evolution demands some degree of experimentation with the form. So we actually allow a lot of variation, which is something that I notice more as an artist than I did when I didn't draw. But of course, when I didn't draw, I was like 8, so comparing to them is ridiculous. But yeah, I think more like everybody's all like, people are attracted to the perfect form. People do have a degree of attraction to symmetry, but they also have a degree of attraction to asymmetry. Like, asymmetrical proportions sometimes draw the eye a lot more than symmetrical proportions and create a sense of exoticness sometimes. Not like vastly asymmetrical, but when it just hovers under the ratio, like people with one eye that's slightly off-center, or that's for example, like, think about Alec Baldwin and Jennifer Aniston. They actually have the same face, and it becomes much more obvious when you look at Alec Baldwin and in Beetlejuice. They actually have the same face. Especially if you compare Jennifer Aniston at the beginning of Friends to Alec Baldwin and Beetlejuice, you realize. And it's to the point where you're like, are they related? Like, at least for me as an artist, I watched it again recently after having seen Friends fairly recently I first saw Friends like 3 or 4 years ago, even though I've grown up in America. You know, I was in America for most of the trend. I listened to everybody talk about Friends. I didn't watch it. And then I moved to the UK, and then I suddenly spent most of my pregnancy with my daughter watching Friends, at least at some part of the day, just so that I didn't feel so alone, so that I didn't feel so isolated during my maternity leave, like the build-up to the end of my pregnancy. And then again with my daughter when she was, very young and sleeping all the time on me. It was a nice way to feel less alone while my partner was at work. I would watch Friends. And then I watched Beetlejuice, and I'm like, oh my freaking god, Alec Baldwin. Young Alec Baldwin has the same face as young Jennifer Aniston. And you look at them, and the face is slightly too narrow. The cheeks are still very prominent. The eyes, it's hard to say. They might be slightly closer together than average. And you just like, yeah, but it creates this exotic nature that you're kind of like, wow, this looks really, really interesting to behold. And then the nose is a bit straighter and less bulbous at the end than what people consider to be the standard nose. And it just creates this interesting effect that looks very exotic and is lent quite a lot to why they've probably both become quite famous in their own right. Meanwhile, you look at Courtney Cox, who has far more of a standard face that we're sort of like, we hold to a standard. Young Courtney Cox had very intense eyes and eyebrows that created this sort of just almost natural dangerousness about it. Like, it's I find the looks that do the best in Hollywood tend to be ones that look a little bit dangerous, like Jared Leto, but also have that disarming childlike nature. Jared Leto and Courtney Cox actually have fairly similar faces. They both have this sort of intenseness about the eyes that can seem a little bit dangerous at times. And they both have a very almost childlike presentations to the rest of their face. Like, particularly the lower half of their face has a very delicate curve. And a thinness compared to the top half that really